So welcome everyone. For tonight's practice, I'll be using some blocks and a rolled blanket. So if you would like to grab your supplies and have them handy, and then we will sit with our spine supported on this roll. So sit in front of it, let your legs be bent, and just drape your mid and upper back over your roll. Let your head be supported. Let your eyes close down. Arms simply resting a ways away from you with the palms facing up. Letting go of whatever has transpired today so that you can fully arrive in this present moment. Just settling into your special little place here. Maybe doing a quick scan from head to toe to bring awareness to any areas that you may need to stay more mindful of as we move. And my idea for this class tonight, my theme, if you will, is going to be, it's that combination, that finding that balance of effort and ease, trying to avoid over-efforting so that we can truly embrace the ease. So as we move tonight, maybe keeping that in mind as we begin with our conscious breathing. And we'll just take a belly breath tonight. So maybe you put your hands on your belly, or maybe you leave your arms where they are. But let's exhale the lungs completely. And then inhale softly yet deeply enough that your belly expands like a balloon. Exhaling either through your nose or through your mouth, but let it all go. Feel the navel sink to the spine. Feel the back side of your body sinking more closely towards the earth. And inhale to the belly, softly expanding that balloon. Exhale, release. So many of you know this is the first part of a 3-part breath. But since we're focusing on the ease more than on the effort, I invite you to just stay with this belly breath. Taking several more cycles just on your own. After this cycle of breath, allow your breathing to return to its more normal or natural pattern. And let's loosen up through the shoulders and upper back here. So sometimes we take snow angels where the arms are straight and reaching out. But tonight I want to do some lazy snow angels. So you can let your arms stay a little bit bent as they reach up and overhead. Continue to let the arms stay bent as you let your elbows circle around the sides and back down. And then do that a few more times. Your arms staying gently bent the whole time as we reach up and then out. Maybe you can feel how your shoulder blades are just sliding around that rolled blanket that you're laying on. softly lubricating throughout the shoulder girdle. And then the next time that your arms sweep up overhead, let them extend long, now reaching behind you, reaching back towards the back wall, maybe drawing navel to spine as well, and lightly engaging the glutes to scoop your tailbone under and lift the hips just a few inches. And then slowly lower back down. And do that one more time as you're reaching overhead with the arms. Scoop your pelvis, lift the hips just a little. We're lengthening the spine here. Slowly set the sacrum back down. Let your arms come out to a soft goal pose. So there's a little bend in the elbows, but your arms are resting on the floor beside you. Just feel the opening at the top of the chest here. And then slide your arms further away from you. We're just letting them straighten out a bit. So the elbows probably reach off of the floor, but the backs of your hands can stay on the floor. In fact, you can press in with the backs of your hands, thinking of rising through your sternum bone and the upper chest. Let your head stay soft here though. And then release. You can let your arms come out more like a T. And then, no, actually, want to roll all the way over onto the right side. And then once you're over there, you can just scoot your blanket away. We don't need it for a while. So we let the legs be bent, the knees up kind of towards the chest, like you would be sitting in a chair. Arms out in front of you, palm on palm. And with the next inhale, begin to lean back onto your back as you just drag that left arm across your upper chest. And then let it stretch out into a gentle twist. And then on the exhale, though, you come right back in, sliding that arm across your body, palm to palm. We'll do that again. Now keep in mind, if it's not comfortable to extend that left arm all the way out, you could just let your hand still rest on your chest or the back of your hand resting on your forehead instead of reaching that arm straight out. On the exhale, we're closing it back up though. And it's this third time through that we'll land here. So if you can get that left shoulder down onto the floor, just relax here. If your shoulder and your arm isn't comfortable like that, put your left hand on top of your forehead. You're stretching with your elbow. You're still getting this full, nice, gentle twist here. And then with the next exhale, just let the rest of your body, your lower body, roll onto your back. Pause for a breath. And then let your entire body roll onto the left side. Okay, so we're ready to start again. On the inhale, drag that right arm across the body, coming into a gentle twist, but then exhaling right back out of it. We'll do that a second time. And we'll do that a third time, but this third time through, we'll stay in the twist. Remember that arm can be out straight, or you can leave the elbow bent with your hand resting on your forehead. With the next exhale, come back onto your side, palm to palm. Just pause for a breath there. And then make your way onto your belly. So shifting around so that your legs are as if they're one unit. They're not out in a V. They're touching. You can let your arms be at your sides, your fingers reaching towards your toes, palms facing down. So we're going into a bit of a back bend here. Think of pressing your pubic bone into the mat. So scooping that tailbone under. And then lightly press the hands into the mat. Lift your head, but stay looking down at the mat. Lift your chest. Maybe you stay right here, or maybe you engage the glutes and lift your legs just an inch or two. Keep pressing your pubic bone into the mat, though, for stability. With the next exhale, lower the legs back down, put one side of the face on the mat, let everything go. Then rotate your head so you're looking down again. Scoop the pelvic, or tilt the pelvic pubic bone towards the mat, scooping the tailbone under. Now lift your head a little, lift your chest a little, maybe lift the legs a little. And then if it feels right for you, you could let your gaze, instead of looking straight down, you can begin to look out just slightly in front of you. It's a little bit of an arch in the neck, but certainly not overarching. And then with the next exhale, lower the legs, lower the other side of your face onto the mat, completely let go. One last time here, adjusting your head so you're face down, pubic bone pressing into the mat, hands lightly pressing in, head lifts, chest lifts, maybe your legs lift, maybe they lift a little bit higher this time. Maybe you angle your head now so it's looking a little more in front of you. Maybe you even let the arms lift up behind you. Coming into a full back bend here. And then lower the legs, lower your hands, and now lock your hands, your forearms so that they're in front of you. You've got your elbows probably slightly in front of the shoulders here. And let's let both legs bend. Now I want to still keep that action of pressing the pubic bone into the mat, curling the tailbone under to keep the low back stable and protected here. But we'll just let those legs bend. So this is already a nice little bit of a quad stretch. But for those of you that want more, reach one hand behind you. See if you can find a pant leg or an ankle and give that leg a little more of a nudge into a slightly deeper quad stretch. And if you took that option, let's do the same for the other leg. And then release. You could stack your forearms one on top of the other and let your forehead rest now on your forearms. Walk the knees out so they're about hip distance apart. Leave your legs bent, and we'll windshield wiper the legs in this prone position. So just let them go side to side. And then unhinge the legs. Lock your hands in now so they're on either side of your chest. Press yourself into a tabletop. Keeping the hips stacked over the knees, we'll walk the hands forward, finding a puppy pose here. Letting the forehead and the chest sink towards the floor. Either stay here or let your hips sink back over your heels, finding a child's pose instead. And then return to the tabletop, making sure we have the knees stacked underneath the hips here. And then let's take just a few little arch and curls here. So on an inhale, let the belly drop, the tail and the head rise. And then exhaling, navel to spine, tailbone dropping down towards the floor. Doing that a couple more times. And then returning to neutral. From here, let's extend the right leg long, but leave the toes touching the floor. Okay, that leg just comes straight. And then slide those toes over to the left. And then turn your gaze to look at your right foot. So we're getting a side stretch here. It's just a different way of getting into it. Breathe. And then slide that foot back in line and set the knee down. Let's extend the left leg out long, toes still touching the floor though. Sweep that foot over to the right as far as it will go, and then turn your head to look at that foot. Feeling the stretch along the left side, left hip. Slide it back in line, returning to the tabletop. And then maybe you'd want to go ahead and get your blocks to get set up for our next few little moves here. So I'm going to put my blocks at the middle orientation, just so that I have some room on either side of those blocks. And then from here, let's send that right leg out long again. This time it can lift. We're going into some hip circles. So on the exhale, draw that knee in towards the chest. And then inhaling, take your knee out to the side and then straighten it back behind you. Okay, so just some slow motion hip circles here. Do this a couple more times. And then the next time that you bring that knee forward, see if you can plant your right foot outside of both your hands. That's why I thought it'd be nice to have some blocks there to put the hands on. And let your pelvis sink forward and down, finding a lunge here. And once you've found that lunge, gently sink the hips back over the knee. Let that right foot flex. Find a little hamstring stretch. You can leave the knee bent. You're just bending forward until you feel it start, and then you release back into the lunge. Go back and forth a few times. Remember, we don't want to overly effort tonight. We just want to ease into these positions. So use blocks or whatever props you need to make everything feel soft and yummy rather than torturous. The next time that you come towards that hamstring stretch, maybe hold for an extra breath. And the same with the lunge. When you find this next lunge, stay here. We'll add on just a bit, making this a bit of a revolved lunge. So if you've got your blocks on their highest orientation, it will be safer if you put them onto a lower orientation, like the flattest one, and keep your left hand on that block. Reach your right arm out in front of you, just as far as you can. Just feel that gentle stretch. And then sweep that right arm out to the right, and then let it reach behind you at about shoulder height. Your gaze is simply looking over to the right side of your mat. Let your breath deepen here. Just notice where it flows. And then sweep that arm forward again. Plant it on the blocks. Come back to the tabletop. Maybe you readjust your blocks so they're a little higher if that's more comfortable. And then we take 3 little arch and curls before going to the other side. Inhaling into that arch. Exhale, letting the tailbone curl. 2 more times. Just giving that spine plenty of time to recalibrate before going to the other side. And now when you come to neutral, that's when we'll start with the hip circles to the left. So we extend that leg out long and then bring it in, knee towards the chest, open that leg out to the side and then extend it long again. 2 or 3 more times here. And then the next time that you bring that knee forward, maybe you can just let that foot plant right outside of your hands, shifting your pelvis into a lunge. And then stacking hips over knee and letting that left leg come a little straighter with the foot flexed. Find a basic hamstring stretch, rocking back and forth a few times. Maybe you notice that the stretches really do feel pretty yummy when you're not trying quite so hard to make them happen. And the next time that you come into that soft hamstring stretch, just stay an extra breath. And then sink back into your lunge and pausing here. And you might want to lower that right block so it's on the flattest orientation if you're using blocks. And then reach your left arm forward. Feel that stretch coming through the body that way. And then sweep your arm over to the left and eventually reaching behind you. And then we sweep it forward once more. Let the hand return to the block. You might as well put that block on its flattest orientation as well, and then come back into the tabletop. And we'll just use the blocks to go into a downward facing dog if you'd like as well. So when ready, you can tuck your toes under, lift the hips up and back, and then pedal your feet back and forth a few times here. Maybe even rolling onto the balls of the feet, just making some little ankle circles here. And then eventually start walking the feet up towards the hands. Leave a nice bend in the knees. Set your blocks off to the side if you'd like. Let your upper body hang from your hips in this ragdoll. And then maybe begin to wiggle your hips a bit, straightening one leg some and then the other, going back and forth. And then both knees bend again. Engage the core, and then inhaling, sweep the arms out and up, reaching for the sky, and then diving halfway down. Lengthening the spine here. Now let the legs straighten a bit more, and then exhale, slide the hands down the shins any amount. Let the knees bend again. This time, let's slowly roll up. Once upright, let the arms come out into a T. Shift your weight side to side. And then let yourself become planted just on that left foot. Keep the core engaged. Let's bring that right knee up, maybe just leaving the big toe touching onto the floor with the knee lifted, or maybe you want to reach around, scoop the hands around your thigh and pull that knee up towards the chest. Grow tall through the crown of the head. Make sure you take a choice that feels effortless. And then we release that thigh. If you were holding it, let the arms come back into the T. And we'll all slide that right leg back behind, coming into an airplane. But maybe you just let that leg lift a little bit, like you're a plane that's taking off. Maybe you feel like lifting that leg high. Anywhere in between. Just make sure it feels yummy and not full of effort. You can bend that standing knee a bit so that you can return upright with your knee lifted up towards the chest any amount. And then we'll set that foot down. Again, the arms just float out. We shift our weight side to side, just feeling the pressure on each foot. And then eventually landing, this time on the right foot. Lift that left knee, either a little or a lot. Hold here. And then find your airplane. Slowly try to return upright. That knee lifted once again. And then we set the foot down. And we'll turn to face the wide edge of the mat. Maybe set your blocks over there as well. You might like that in a moment. And let's bring the legs out wide, knees and toes facing the corners of the mat. Let's find our wide leg squat. Shifting the weight side to side. Allowing one shoulder to dip down in front. And then switching the shoulder that's dipping down. Returning slowly upright. Let's turn the right toes in, the left toes out. So we can take a triangle pose here. Arms shoulder height. Tilt the pelvis, reach out and then down, maybe placing your hand higher up on the shin than you usually do, or on a second block maybe. And then let that right arm begin to reach towards the sky, but then let the elbow bend. And again, we just make some very casual circles with that arm so that we're slowly and gently opening up the chest here. And then find the place that you'd like to let that arm stay in stillness. And if you want to take it deeper, now you could slide your left hand down the leg a little more. With the next inhale, let's rise back up. And we'll shift the feet so that the left toes are pointing in, right toes pointing out. And tilting the pelvis, finding a nice gentle triangle, resting that right hand somewhere on the shin or blocks. Letting the left arm begin to make some bent circles towards the sky. Eventually deciding where you want to let that left arm stay. If you want to let the right hand slide further down, deepening the triangle, and then breathing here. And we'll rise back up and let the arms just relax. Now we'll organize the feet so that the toes are all facing the wide edge of the mat. Inhale, reach the arms out again. Exhale, reach them behind. See if you can interlace the fingers. Inhale, lift the heart, lift the gaze, lift the arms behind you. And then exhaling, put a little bend in the knees, hinge from the hips as you dive down, letting the arms spill overhead. Now, can you let your head hang heavy? Can you let your shoulders stay soft? Maybe your knees stay bent. Remember, we want to take the easier way. If you're yearning to let your legs straighten and intensify it, by all means, that feels good. Take that version. With the next exhale, we'll just release the fingers from each other. Let the arms float down. Your hands could rest on the floor. You could hold on to your legs. You could tower these blocks if you have them in front of you so that your head could be supported. See how little effort you can take to make your body still stay in this position. We'll take one more breath here. Bend the knees a little deeper. Walk your hands up towards your thighs, and then slowly rise back up. Heel toe the feet back in, and then let's meet back up at the top of the mat. Inhaling, let's sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, dive down, hands to the mat, feet stepping back into a downward facing dog. 3 breaths here. And then gently lower the knees down onto the mat. And let's have a seat on our right hip. See, I'm going to adjust a little bit on my mat here. So we've got the right knee in front and then the left knee by the right foot, that position. And we'll take, let's see, I'm gonna have my blocks handy because I can't remember if I used them or not here. But we'll take a soft pigeon. So by all means, you could always substitute a full pigeon here if you prefer. But let's place one hand on either side of that right knee. Come onto the fingertips. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, walk the hands forward so that you can drape yourself over this bent knee. And then let your head rest on something. Like if you can just stack one hand on the other, let your head rest. Or if that's a little low for you, grab a block and put it at its tallest orientation so your forehead can be supported there. I'd like for you to let go of your jaw and let go of your shoulders and let go of your hip. One more breath here. And then we'll rise back up. We'll leave the right knee bent, but let's let the left leg straighten out or come almost straight with that foot flexed. So our torso is facing just in between both knees at this point. And plug the fingertips into the floor in front to help create more length in the spine. And then hinge from the hips, coming forward any amount. And then release out. And now shift your torso so that you are facing that straight leg rather than facing in between the knees. Let that left leg bend a little, but keep the foot flexed. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, hinge from the hips like you could lay your belly on your thigh. And then take hold of your leg somewhere. Maybe it's your knee or your calf or your ankle or toes. Just making sure it's a comfortable reach and breathing here. And then walk the hands back up your leg. We'll plant the right hand off to the right. We'll take a little bit of a twist here, reaching that left arm across the body, reaching it over to the right as far as you can reach, and maybe letting that arm bend, and you can just rest your left hand on your right shoulder. That left elbow can drop down. Taking another breath here. And then release the arm back out. And you have a couple options for the next little piece. Maybe you just slide on down to your right forearm and reach your left arm overhead for a nice gentle side stretch. Or if you keep your hand plugged into the mat, you can lift your hips and reach that left arm overhead as well. And then release, sit back down if you had lifted the hips. And let's switch sides. So you want to be sitting on that left hip and outer thigh, getting the knees or legs in shape of an S. One hand on either side of that left knee. Plugging the fingertips in, let's rise through the crown. Keeping that length, let's fold over this bent leg. Feel free to substitute the traditional pigeon if you prefer. Otherwise, just let your head rest on a block or rest on your hands. Let go of any gripping, jaw, shoulders, and hips. Then we'll rise back up. Let the right leg straighten, but the left leg stays bent. Okay, so first we're facing in between the knees, lengthening the spine on the inhale, hinging from the hips on the exhale. You won't go far, but you'll get a nice inner thigh stretch here. And we rise back up and we readjust so that now our torso is facing this straight leg, but it doesn't need to stay completely straight. You can put a little bend in the knee, but do keep the foot flexed. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, reach out. Let your belly rest on your thigh. Your hands take hold of your lower leg somewhere as you enjoy this hamstring stretch. And release. We'll set that left hand off to the left side. Sweep the right arm in front and across the body here. Reaching over, letting the elbow bend, maybe resting that right hand on the left shoulder, letting the elbow just relax down, breathing here. And then releasing that arm back out. And this is where you have a choice. You could come down onto your left forearm and then stretch your right arm overhead. Or you could press your left palm into the mat to lift the hips high and then reach that right arm overhead. And release, return to sitting if you had lifted the hips. And then let's shift around so that we can lay down onto our back for our final stretches here. So once you lay down, let the knees hug into the chest. Maybe even rock side to side a bit. And then draw the knees in towards the armpits. Maybe trade this for a happy baby, reaching inside of the knees to take hold of the outside of the feet, letting the legs unhinge halfway. Again, either in stillness or rocking side to side. Eventually bringing the soles of the feet together and pressing the heels towards the groin. Let the legs relax here, receiving this stretch. And then release. Set the feet down. Let the legs stretch out, the arms at your sides. And then for relaxation, let's find again that combination of effort and ease. So in order to find ease more completely, we'll put forth a little effort here. So I want you to think of clenching every muscle in your head, forehead, your mouth, your grimacing, your jaw, your neck, your shoulders, and your arms, maybe even making fists with your hands. Feel that effort, that tension, so that now with the next exhale, let go. Completely release. This is what ease and surrender feels like. Now let's do the same with the lower body. So we'll engage the core, the glutes, thighs, calves, feet, and toes. Ooh, might even get a little bit of a cramp when you try that. Lots of effort. And then on your next exhale, let it all go. Find that ease. Allow your body to feel heavy, sinking into the support of the mat, fully understanding now what it feels like to completely let go. As your body stays relaxed, I invite you to re-enter your belly breathing, like we started the class with. Letting your inhale be just deep enough that your relaxed belly can comfortably expand like a balloon on the inhale. And then like that balloon is just deflating on the exhale. Few more cycles. And then with the next inhale, let it be deeper. Let your arms stretch overhead, wiggling your entire body, toes, and feet, and arms and legs. And softly bending your knees. Let's roll to one side. And then just let everything go once again. Pure ease, pure surrender for a few breaths. And then slowly begin to press yourself up towards any seated position. Sitting up tall, bringing the hands to your heart. Sealing your practice with your own quiet prayer or moment of stillness. And then releasing the hands to the lap. Slowly opening your eyes, allowing you to re-enter your day. I thank you all very much for joining me. I hope you found a nice balance between ease and effort, more towards the ease maybe tonight. And until next time, I wish you peace.